session we are going to discuss second unit, and the title of the second unit is Information Technology and Internet. First we will discuss what is information. Information, the facts that are gathered for some effective decision making. We call it as an information. Consider in an industry you have a marketing department, and this marketing department what need to do, these need to increase their sales. This is the main aim of any marketing department. So to know whether they are improving, they need to have the data. For example, in one particular zone they are having sales in the first week, that is in the previous week they were able to sell 1000 products. In the next week they are able to sell only 850 products. So this clearly shows that there is a down in the sales. So what do you need to do? We need to improve the sales. So only if you have the information we can just know whether the sales is in uptrend or it is in downtrend, and based on this we need to make some analysis why the sales has gone down. And later they come to know a particular salesperson who was on leave, so he was not able to meet his clients, so they were not able to sell the products for those particular clients. So in that particular case, how we can make decision? So if that particular person is not available, we need to find an alternate so that he will work as effectively as the original person. So these are the some cases. For all these things we need to have the information. First, how much sales that was there in the previous week, in the current week, and what are the reasons for going down. That information also need to be collected, and that's why the information is very, very important for any work. The information is very, very. Coming to technology. See, here we have a word technology. The original word was generated using two different words, techni and logia. Techni, logia. These two are Greek words. In Greek, techni means skill, logia means study of science. These two are combined and they form this particular word, technology. Technology is used. The main purpose of technology, we need to generate a new system to solve the current problems or to solve the requirements of the people. Now, we have combined these two terms, that is information and technology, and we have formed a new study of science called information technology. What this does, this combines computers and telecommunication. This combines computers and telecommunication, and it will provide a platform to store, to modify, and to process and give the output to the end user in the required form. So this particular information technology allows us to perform these things. Now we see what are the components of information technology, and in that components what are the things that are included one by one. First we will see what are all the things which are included in information technology. First one, software applications. First we need to see what is software and what are all the types of software and what is software applications. All these things we are going to discuss, but we will just see in information technology what are the things which are included, and after that we will discuss in detail each and every component. First is software applications. The second one is web-based information. That is, we have a very popular service in your internet, the World Wide Web. It contains web pages and web related documents, and user can just log in, or he can just give her the URL, and he can get the information that particular from the website, and he can use it for further improvement. These are the things that are possible. So the second component that we are going to discuss is the web-based information. Web-based. This is the second. Next, you have telephone and telecommunication. Telephone and telecommunication. So I already said in the previous unit we have discussed one particular topic. A particular computer capable, it is capable to connect with a similar type of computer or with different type of computer. These all things are possible. This gives us a network of computer. That is where you will be having different computers and they are connected to one particular group. And similarly, so there will be n number of different groups which can be interconnected, and this forms an wide area network. And if it is connected global wide, it is called as internet. So all these things we have learned in the first unit. Here also you will be having, we will be discussing what are those things. Okay, how this interconnection is possible. This is possible with the telephone network, which acts as a backbone for us to connect the networks which are geographically available in different locations. They are available in different geographical locations. So these are all things which are possible. And next thing which we have is multimedia. Medias like audio, video, all these things are combined and they will be treated as multimedia, and this is also one of the component of your information technology. And last one, electronic devices. The devices like photocopier, fax machine and other transmission devices which we are using for transmitting the information from one place to another place, all these things are included in your information technology. Now we are going to see each and everything in detail. The next topic that we are going to discuss is software. What is software? Collection of group of programs which are developed for some purpose is called as software. And these softwares are basically classified into two. One is system software, next one is application software. Why we have classified this? Because some programs are intended for the computers and other devices which require this particular software to execute the user request. So these softwares are called system softwares. And the next classification is application software. These softwares will be used by the end users or some other devices. So some other device, what it will do? It will use the utility or the graphic user interface which is provided by this application software to give the input, and after that it will be processed by the system and it will be giving the giving the output to the user or the other system which are given the input. Now you have the system software. We will see some examples of system software. We are not going to discuss in detail each and every example. We are just going to see what softwares are called system software. First, the very famous one, and which is the one which is predominantly used, and the particular software without which you cannot run a particular system, is called operating system. Operating system is a system software which allows or which act as a platform and which will allow you to execute all other application on it. Why it is called as operating system? The software, why it is called as operating system? Because nowadays the systems will not will not process any request without this operating system, and this allows us to develop independent system. There is earlier days we used to have software which are dependent on a particular system. Suppose if you are writing a program, that program will be executed only in that particular hardware or the computer which you are which is available for you to do processing. But nowadays, after invent of this softwares like our operating system, you can execute any application on any system. And we have more sophisticated tools which allows us to make platform independent and language independent. Those things we will be discussing in the later portions of the in the later classes or in your senior classes. But this particular software which allows us that is as I said earlier, it allows us a platform over which we will be having all the applications which will be executed, and this will control the memory, this will control all the hardware, and it will also control the users. It will also guide the users how to do the work. Nowadays we all the operating systems are GUI based. There is your Linux, Windows, Mac, IBM AS400. All these things are providing you with a sophisticated user interface which will allow you to communicate with the system, and you can request the system to perform the required required operation. These things are possible. Now the next is system software we have is compiler. The compiler is another system software. What it will do, say most of the program at this level, what we are doing, we are typing in English using some editor. For example, you might use Turbo C++ editor to enter your C code, or you can use VC++ editor to enter the C code. What it will do, it will just accept the statements which you accept the syntax in English. These English statements need to be converted to object code. Whereas those things that you enter, these are called source code. These to be converted to object code. And there are two types of compilation, and one is called compilation, another is called interpretation. What this will, this will convert one form to another form. Both converters, what it will do, it will convert the source code to destination code. And destination code, if it is in compiler, it will be an object code, and if it is an interpreter, it will also be object code. Only the process of conversion will be different. The compiler will get the whole program and it will be converting into object code at one instant, but interpreter will interpret each and every line individually, and it will give you an object code. And there is one more converter which is called as assembler. What it will do, it will give us an assembly code. That is, it will be in mnemonics. So depending upon the situation, we can select the appropriate converter to perform the operation. And why it is called system software? Because it gives the source, converts the source code into machine understandable form. So that is why it is called, it is mainly developed for the system, not for the end user. So it is called system software. We will start with these two examples. Next we go for an application software, and what are the facilities of application software and how an user can communicate with the application software. The first example of your application software is word processor. The very good word processor which we are using, that is, if you are using Microsoft product, you will be using Microsoft Word. Otherwise in Star Office, if you are using in open source, there are good number of Office products that are available. Suppose if you are using some Open Office product or Star Office product, the application that you will be selecting is Writer. Okay. Now we will discuss that particular word processor. In generic, we call this as a word processor. What it will do, it will allow us to do typing work and editing and all the things that you want to do, you can do it. Suppose nowadays the sophisticated word processor which we are having, this allows us to insert images and some other three-dimensional objects whichever we want to present in some form. That is possible. You can insert charts and you can insert the other components like your animated GIF. Everything is possible. Nowadays the software, the word processor software is allowing us to insert all these components. And you can just see the word processor. What are all the operations that will be performed by a simple word processor? Just think, you type a character. In your keyboard you are typing a character A. As soon as you type a character, the application, what it will do, it will accept the input. It will accept the input and it will check what is the font name, what is the font type that particular user have selected, and what is the font size that user have selected. After confirming this, in which coordinate, that is the cursor point that need to be identified, in which coordinate I need to place this, whether I need to be placed in the header, or it need to be placed in the footer, or it need to be placed in the body of that particular page. All these things will be analyzed by the application software, and it will be placing the character. And apart from the font size and font type, it will also check the color, and it will also, nowadays we have some more, that is, we can add some effects to the fonts. So that will be also checked, and it will be displaying. So there is a, we generally what we will do, we will just type the characters, and we will be just checking the document, and we will be just doing formatting. All these things we will be just doing. But when you just type a character, these are all the operations that will be performed by a simple word processor. After that only the character will be displayed, but it will be in fraction of seconds. So this is one particular application, and how it gets the information. It will provide us an editor, and that editor will be having some menus like your file menu, which allows us to create a new document, open an existing document, closing the open document, saving the modification. All these things are possible. And apart from this, it will allow us to save in different formats also. You can store in document format, you can store it in PDF format, or you can store in some other format, whichever format that you want to export to some other system. All these things are possible with this application software. But this application software will interact with the operating system to perform all the operations. Without operating system, this application software cannot. But what this will do, this will provide us a sophisticated editor and a simple editor, where a user-friendly editor. You need not have a separate person to teach you to use this particular application software. You just like that, by what you see is what you get. You can just see the particular components, and you can start using it. And it will also guide you. There are helps that will be available. You can use those things, and there are some tutorials also available. But without using that also, you can use this application software, and this is developed purely for the users. So far we have discussed different types of softwares, and in each classification we have discussed one example, and in system software we have discussed two examples. Now we are going to see the steps involved in development of software projects. Steps in software development. The first and very vital thing is requirement analysis. What is this requirement analysis? In this phase, we will just go and sit with the client. The client here means the person who is going to use your software is called as client. You are going to develop one particular software, you are developing a particular software to someone, and that particular person or that particular group is called client. Initially you need to go and sit with the client, and you need to gather the requirements, and you need to work out with the requirements, and it will be done in different stages. You need to go for this to be done with the number of iterations. You need to follow number of iterations to get the final requirements. Suppose he want to develop a particular software for inventory control, and first you need to get what are the types of input that will be possible, and what are the outputs that need to be generated. Or after analyzing these things, you need to prepare a document called requirement document. In general terms they will call as specifications. Requirement specification, software requirement specification. After getting the software requirement specification, what you need to do, you need to give this spec to the second group of people. They will design, that is, they will build a software architecture in which you will be having data flow diagram and all the things that are required just before the implementation. In the design phase, you will be just having, whereas these are the entities that will be available, and these attributes need to be fixed, and these two entities will be are related in this particular manner. All the information will be made available by in the design phase. After this is very important phase. If your design fails, then definitely you are in a wrong way. Even if you run fast, that you won't get a correct product. So the design is very, very important. And after giving design phase, after completing the design, you need to prepare a design documentation, and that need to be submitted to the next group, that is the implementation group, where the actual programming or the actual typing of the code will be done. Now, when the professor says write a program to perform sorting, what you will do? You directly there is a suppose in some cases you will be writing AIM algorithm, and after that you will be directly going for the particular thing what is called typing the code. In some cases we will directly jump to the entering the source code. This is actually a wrong way. First we need to analyze what are the types of input. Even for the sorting algorithm, whether you need to sort the numeric value or some categorical value. First you need to analyze. If it is a non-numeric value, then the sorting algorithm need to be implemented in a different way. Otherwise, if you are going for a generic type, you are going to give a sorting algorithm for generic type, then you need to use some sophisticated features in a programming language like templates, all these things you can use. So this is the thing which is very, very important. First you need to know what are the types of inputs that you are going to, that your program is going to get. And what are the types, or what in which format you need to give the output. All these things need to be obtained from the professor. After that only you need to implement it. Before implementing it, you need to work out the logic. What are all the possible logics that are available and which logic will be efficient. After that, you go for the implementation. After implementing, you need to give the particular product to the group, another group which will be performing testing. And here you will be having two types of tests. There is verification, validation. One will just say whether there is any errors available in the application. Another will say whether you have developed the right product or not. We are not going to discuss in detail about these two processes, but these are the performance. There is you will be having some test case. There is for known. There is you will be having for this input. This will be the output. So the expected output will be checked for this particular value. You will be giving some input. For example, you will be giving 3 to 1 for sorting numeric value. Okay, and it need to be sorted in ascending order. It need to be displayed as 1, 2, 3. So like that, we will be having some test cases, standard test cases to test the test the software or test the program. And after testing, we will be directly going for deployment. In deployment, we will be going for client place. After deploying the particular thing, what will be the main important thing? You need to train the client, that is the users of this particular software, how they can use this particular software, and what are the assumptions that were made. All these things, it should be this should be done by the particular organization who are supplying the software. And apart from that, they need to supply the user manual and help files and the other things. And the major portion of this, the maintenance. After supplying the software, you need to maintain it. Suppose the requirements changes, or suppose some new feature need to be added. Or for all these things, the maintenance should be done. So that will be the next phase. After implementation, you need to maintain the software, and which consumes the major expenditure of this particular software. So these are the different phases of software development process. And usually people used to say SDLC, software development life cycle. And for this particular thing, you have various models that are proposed, and those things you will be learning in the particular course called software engineering.